I greet you once again, members, from wherever you are logging in from. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Joy, I want to request that we should be able to start this meeting. And we've just asked the technical team to unmute everybody to the meeting. If you're able to hear us, you may want to just test your mic, something like that, before we're gonna start. This is a chairman's corner where we need just to give members an update of what is happening. My name is Nebat Avuzo, the CEO for the SACCO. But just for us to confirm that, yes, we are communicating, you could just go to the to React and tell us maybe where you're logging in from, or just tell us something for us to confirm that, yes, indeed, we are communicating. I can see one hand there, I think from, is it Ruben Kiano? You could just say hello, Ruben, just for us to confirm that we are communicating.
Hello.
Yeah. Hello.
Yeah, we are good.
We are doing this. Your name, maybe?
It's Ronald.
Oh. All right. Thank you. Thank you so much. At least it confirms that, yes, we are able to communicate. I hope that you're also able to hear me loud and clear. I said my name is Nebat Avuzo, the CEO for the SACCO. I'm here with other managers, and the board is also here. So I'll be inviting the chair for the BDE to just be able to take us through. He's the chair of BDE, and therefore we'll be able to give him a chance to just speak to us, and we will be able to start. So we continue to admit members as they join. And at this moment in time, I'm not so sure if the chair of BDE is already on this call. I can see the board chair is already here. So Chair BDE, if you've joined, you could maybe say hello to members. Jadea, if you can kindly mute, a member by the name Jadea, kindly mute.
Can I proceed, CEO?
Yes, thank you so much. We're actually waiting for you to join. Now I'm happy that you have joined. The floor is yours. Thank you and welcome.
Thank you so much, FCPA Dr. Avuzo, our CEO. Honorable members, wherever you are, I take cognizance of your different time zones. It is a very good afternoon from my end, and allow me, on behalf of the board, to welcome you to this afternoon's webinar. Please feel much welcome. It is an opportunity which is so rare for us to come and deliberate on matters affecting us as members of the SACCO, alongside our governance structures. So please feel free in the course of this webinar, in the course of interactions, let no stone remain unturned. Whatever you desire to have responded to, please feel free to do so. But before we get to the activity itself, allow me to also appreciate, after appreciating you members, the board and supervisory committees members who are here. I would want to give them an opportunity to introduce themselves. Thank you, directors, wherever you are. You can just unmute, proceed and introduce yourself.
Yeah, if I may, Vice Chairperson, probably I could go first. So good morning, good afternoon, good evening, honorable members from wherever you are joining us. My name is Bernard Koech. I'm the board chairperson, and I'm very happy to be with you today for this. It's the first webinar after our AGM, so we are very excited to have you on board, and we look forward to a very productive engagement as we proceed with the webinar. Thanks and welcome.
Thank you, our body chair. Directors, let's proceed.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, honorable members. This is Dr. Christine Wanjala. I'm so glad to connect again after some time after the EGM. We look forward for a very engaging forum. Please feel free to ask questions, seek clarifications, and we are glad to support each other. Thank you very much and most welcome. I'm connected from Pakistan. Thank you.
Good afternoon, honorable members. My name is Monica Mwove, Director of the UN SACCO. We are really happy that we have this session, and it's my hope that we're going to engage, ask many questions, so that then we can move forward together. Thank you very much and most welcome.
Any other director, member of Supervisory Committee?
Apology is sent from Director Philomena McKenna. She was to join, but then she got an urgent commitment at her office. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. So, honorable members, as we wait for the rest of the board and supervisory committee members to join, I want us to pick it up from here because time is of essence to us all. Colleagues, I remember that in various platforms that we are members outside there, the social platforms, the WhatsApp groups especially, I want to make a clarification here because as members and as directors, we are also part of those walls, and at times we see some issues that are peddled without much background information. So please allow me to note that directors attending webinars are not entitled to any payment. We as a board of the Supervisory Committee and management, we just prepare, we engage, and that is it. So I had seen a post to the effect that directors receive a sitting allowance whenever they attend webinars. That is far from it. That is not the truth. I just wanted to clarify that from the onset. This is also informed by the fact that a few weeks ago, we received a number of issues that were shared on those social platforms through one of the members. And this was sent to the CEO, and of course, the board also had a copy of the same. And some of the issues will be responded to as we proceed with the webinar. So given that this is a chairman's day, allow me, colleagues and members, that I take it to the board chair to pick it from there. Mr. Bernard, CPA.
Okay, thank you so much, VC, and thank you so much, CEO. Once again, honorable members, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, good night from wherever you are joining. We are very happy to have you on board today for this webinar. We called it the chairman's desk or a chairman's corner, but it's actually not really a chairman's corner. It's supposed to be a member's corner, but my team told me to lead on this, so I'm very privileged to be here and to be helping out, address some of these concerns, and just to share updates to members on how the SACCO is progressing. This is, like I mentioned earlier, the first AGM, first webinar after the AGM. So it's also very unique, and I want to take this opportunity to, acknowledge and thank all members for joining the AGM. We had about 4,000 members joining that AGM. So it was a well-attended AGM, and we really appreciate the members for taking time to participate effectively in that AGM that we had last month. I also want to acknowledge board members who are present, and even those who are not able to join us today, for the continued service to our members in their capacities as board members. Same to the supervisory committee who are present and those who are not here. They also perform a critical role in the governance of the SACCO, so I want also to acknowledge them. And I also want to acknowledge our team of staff led by the CEO and the management and the entire staff fraternity, because they are the ones who make the SACCO run daily, and we are able to, attend to members' needs on a daily basis. So thank you so much for all of you for joining. I'm going to do a short presentation just to, walk us through what we had in store for us today. So allow me to project that. So I'll not be able to see any hands raised after this because I'm projecting. So I'll request the CEO and the VC to help me out when we get to the questions, so that you can pick any questions and then we'll respond. So this presentation is actually just to give members a synopsis or an update on some key issues for the SACCO that we think are of interest to members as the owners of the SACCO. So I want to start by giving a short or a brief journey of where we've come from as a SACCO. And this is especially for the benefit of new members who may have joined us recently and maybe have not had an opportunity to familiarize themselves with the journey of UNDT SACCO. So I'll try to be as brief, but also cover good ground. So in a nutshell, the SACCO, what we know now as UNDT SACCO, was registered on 6th of September 1975. So we are close to 50 years now. In fact, we'll be celebrating our Golden Jubilee next year, 2025. So it has been a while. It's not a young SACCO. We have definitely been around. It was registered, of course, with the Office of the Commissioner of Cooperative Development as a cooperative society. And therefore, we ascribe to the cooperative principles, and we are active in the cooperative movement in Kenya. Those who've been around for some time will know that the cooperative movement in Kenya has come a long way. It started with very small cooperatives that actually needed a lot of support and guidance and oversight by government officials back in the day. But over time, they've matured. Now, cooperative societies are, a big machine in the financial system, especially in Kenya. So from 1975, when it was registered with only 131 members, the SACCO has grown in leaps and bounds. And since then, up to the year 2010, the SACCO operated as a cooperative society. But something happened in 2008 when the SACCO Societies Act, CAP 490B, was passed in Parliament. And that was the government trying to introduce more stringent oversight or regulation on cooperatives. That act created what we now know as the SACCO Societies Regulatory Authority. And of course, it now required that cooperative societies, especially big ones that had a certain size of total assets and member deposits had to be regulated because, of course, of the risk to the financial system. So especially the SACCOs that wanted to operate the front office services, which means they are allowed to take deposits other than the non-withdrawable deposits, needed to apply for a license from the new authority, which is the SASRA, SACCO Societies Regulatory Authority. And after the act was passed in 2008, the related regulations were actually passed in 2010, when the SACCO Societies Deposit Taking Business Regulations 2010 were passed. UN SACCO at the time, we hadn't changed the name, it was still called UN SACCO. So applied for FOSA services, and it was granted the license, and therefore we became a regulated SACCO. Two things that that registration meant for us is that we are now subject to more stringent regulations, and also it showed that UN SACCO was actually already among the big SACCOs in Kenya. So after 2010, we continued with our progress, a very good growth trajectory. And by 2022, we were ranked as the 9th largest SACCO in Kenya by total assets. That's by the regulator who consolidates all the numbers. I'm using 2022 because 2023 numbers are not out yet, so we don't know where we stand in as of 2023. We await the regulator to compile all the numbers, and then around July, August, we'll have the numbers. But as of 2022, UN SACCO, or UNDT SACCO, now our new name, was ranked the 9th largest SACCO in Kenya by total assets. We have been informed by the cooperative movement in Kenya that Kenya has the top 11 largest SACCOs in Africa. So if UN SACCO is the 9th largest SACCO in Kenya, we are likely to also be the 9th largest SACCO in Africa. So it's not a mean achievement, considering it was just formed by about 131 members less than 50 years ago. So it's a big achievement for us. Something else that happened in 2022 is that we were voted the best managed SACCO in Kenya. So again, considering that Kenya has over 40,000 cooperatives, for UN SACCO to be recognized as the best management is the best managed SACCO is quite an achievement for us. I thought that was a good milestone or an achievement that I should mention to our members, because we should be proud of where we've come from and where we are. I'll speak a little bit about the governance of our SACCO, and it's not unique to us because we are, some of these things are dictated by the law. So UNDT SACCO, and by the way, the name UNDT SACCO came in 2021 when we changed our bylaws and changed slightly our name to include the term deposit taking, because now we have different categories in Kenya of SACCOs. So, you have even Matatu SACCOs. So to distinguish the deposit taking and the non-deposit taking SACCOs, we thought we could change our name to reflect that status. So the supreme organ of the SACCO is the membership, and members, of course, exercise their authority through general meetings, whether it's an annual general meeting or a special general meeting. Below the members, we have the board of directors elected from the membership. So including myself, I was elected by members, and I'm also a member of the SACCO. So we elect representatives to the board who help the members to run the SACCO on a day-to-day basis. The board in turn hires a team of staff. So we have the chief executive officer, we have a management team, and a bigger complement of staff. And this staff help us, to run the day-to-day operations at the office. There's also an organ called the supervisory committee, which is elected again from the membership. And the supervisory committee offers oversight on behalf of members. So they check what the board is doing. And then at the end of the year, they report to the members on what they found out, and they make recommendations to the general meeting. They also report quarterly to the board on their findings, and they have a joint meeting. And after this meeting, they send a report to the Commissioner for Cooperatives Development. So the government still maintains an oversight in that sense. Some of the stakeholders, apart from who are crucial for our governance, I've indicated there the Commissioner for Cooperative Development. The commissioner is actually the one who registers cooperatives in Kenya and is the kind of the supervisor of all cooperatives. For the deposit-taking SACCOs, we fall under the SACCO Societies Regulatory Authority. These ones, the SASRA provide the regulations and enforcement, on behalf of the wider public, overseeing deposit-taking SACCOs. As you may know, in 2020, the Kenyan Constitution was passed, and some of the roles were devolved to the counties. So one of the roles that were devolved is the cooperatives, and therefore we also fall under the supervision of the County Director of Cooperatives in Nairobi County. And that's why you see a lot of engagement between us and the County Director. And within the county, we are closely supervised or operate or interact a lot with the sub-county cooperatives office, which reports now to the County Director of Cooperatives. So UNDG SACCO falls under the Westland sub-county in Nairobi County, and that's where we are domiciled for purposes of government supervision. What brings us all together as members are our bylaws, because this is the constitution that guides how we relate as members and how we want our SACCO to be run. The latest revision we did for the bylaws was done in 2021. I believe most members remember that engagement and the special general meeting we had in around September 2021 to approve the new bylaws. Since then, there have been new developments. We have guidance notes from SASRA on corporate governance. We are anticipating the new Cooperative Societies Act to be passed in Parliament, and there are changes that are coming with those two documents. So we expect that at some point, if not this year, maybe early next year, we will be initiating another review of the bylaws so that we align our bylaws to the law and the guidance from the regulator. These bylaws are available on our website. If you go to the members portal and you're interested to read the bylaws, they are available there. In addition to the bylaws, we also have some few policies which are of interest to members. So please visit the members portal section on the website. You can log in, you can get the credentials and log in there, and then you'll be able to access these documents. Now I want to look into the future on where we are heading as a SACCO. And just to update members that we have in place a strategic plan that covers the period 2023 to 2027. So we normally do 5-year strategic plans. So we launched ours last year. We've done 1 year already in that strategic plan, but I just wanted to summarize or to posit the performance we had in 2022 vis-a-vis where we are aiming to be by 2027, at least to give members kind of a forward look on where we are heading. So the first parameter I wanted to share is on the number of active members we have in the SACCO, and I emphasize the word active because only active and bona fide members are the ones who are considered members of the SACCO. We don't mind if a member is active, but on their way to becoming bona fide, which means meeting the requirements that are in the bylaws. But for purposes of governance, only bona fide members, who can make even decisions in general meetings. So as of 2022, we had 5,307 active members. Our strategic plan anticipates that we'll have about 7,900 by 2027. So in the next 4 years or so, 3 years actually. In terms of member savings or the deposits by our members, we were at 12.5 billion in 2022. And then we are projecting to go to 18.4 billion in 2027. Now, because I've seen a question popping up from the chat, just to clarify, this is 2022 performance. So this is the last performance year in the old strategic plan before we started the new one. So I'm not counting 2023 because 2023 is already, in this current strategic plan. Just to clarify that. In terms of our loan book, which is our bread and butter, as you know, we were at 10 billion in 2022. In this new strategic plan, we hope to go to close to 15 billion by 2027. In terms of total assets, we were at 16.6 billion in 2022. We are projecting to go to 24.7 billion. So at the end of 2027, 2027, we should be at 24.7 billion. That's very ambitious, honorable members, because it means we have to grow our total assets by about 8 billion within that span of 5 years. But we are confident we are going to achieve that target because as of 2023, we're already making good progress. Our total revenue in 2022, we were at 1.9 billion. We are projecting by 2027, we should be making about 3 billion per year. So again, we are making good progress when we look at the 2023 numbers. What we are paying out to members on their deposits in terms of interest was at 1.1 billion in 2022. We are hoping to jump to 1.7 billion in 2027. So which means after the AGM and members approve interest on deposits, we hope we'll be able to pay out 1.7 billion to members by 2027. Our share capital, which is our bedrock for the SACCO, was at 1.1 billion. It will grow, or it's projected to grow to 1.5 billion in 2027. Because of the share capital, we also project to pay dividends on the share capital. So in 2022, we paid 147 million. We project this to grow to around 199 million in 2027. So if you take the deposits and the share capital, we'll be paying close to 2 billion to members in the form of interest on deposits and share capital. Dividends on share capital, sorry. Now, there are a lot of stories underlying these numbers. So I'll not, bring out all those, the information behind what's driving these numbers. But there are 3 key pillars that this strategic plan is anchored on. The first pillar is on financial growth and sustainability. So we want to make sure our SACCO grows, but it's also sustainable. So we are not, rushing to get into, ambitious plans that are not sustainable in the long run. So while we want to be ambitious and grow, but we also keen to make sure that it's a sustainable model. We are also keen on customer experience and engagement. And customer here is none other than our member or members. So when you talk about customers, you're actually referring to you members. We are keen on customer experience and engaging members because other than providing services to members, I think the engagement element is also crucial in terms of governance. We're also keen on institutional capacity enhancement because our SACCO cannot grow without capacity to grow. So we have to invest in building the capacity of the institution. Like for instance, in capacity in terms of empowering our members, like to participate in governance and also on education, empowering the board and SC by training and providing the necessary tools, and as well our member of staff, they also need to be to be receiving things like training to be able to deliver effectively, and overall other tools that they need, like ICT, for instance, so that they have the appropriate tools to deliver this ambitious target that we are aiming for. So just to summarize the key priorities from anchored to those 3 pillars, The first one is on financial performance. Like I said, one of the pillars is financial growth and sustainability. So we are pushing very hard. The board is putting in place, measures to make sure that we grow our membership. We've been stuck at around 5,000 for a number of years now. So there's a new impetus now that we want to put in place to grow our membership. Like you saw in the strategic plan, we want to jump from 5,300 to close to 8,000 active members. So we don't count the dormant members. These are active members. So if you include the dormant members, probably will be around 9,000 or close to 10,000. We are also keen on products innovation and diversification. So apart from the existing products, which we keep modifying to respond to members' needs, we are also keen on diversifying. There are areas we are looking at, like for instance, members who are, for instance, those who are paid in dollars, how we can tailor-made some products for them so that they bypass this issue of forex. We have looked in the past and we'll still continue looking at members who profess the Islamic faith, because we think there could be possibilities there in terms of products and diversification, but also looking at the existing products and see how we can innovate so that we respond to different members' needs. We want to grow our loan book and members' deposits. This is the core business of the SACCO. As you know, the SACCO stands for savings and credit cooperatives. So on the credit side, we have the loan book, and then on the savings side, we have the members' deposits. So these two elements need to grow for our SACCO to grow, in a balanced way. We are also trying to make sure any funds that we have not lent out to members in terms of loans are properly invested to generate returns. So we have a very good investment policy in place that is guiding that, but we'll also keep modifying so that we are responding and investing, generate maximum revenue, but also balancing the risk. Lastly, we want to invest in technology because that's the kind of the platform that will help us, reach some of these innovations we are looking at, like on products, membership recruitment, etc. The next area we are prioritizing is on customer experience, again, anchored to the customer experience and engagement pillar. One of the key things that we are focusing on right now is to automate our services and products, because we appreciate our members are scattered all over the world. And just like we mentioned in the AGM, we are taking cognizance of these members, those who are in Nairobi and also those who are in the diaspora, outside Nairobi and outside Kenya. And for them to be able to enjoy the services and products of the SACCO effectively, we think technology is the key. And we are investing heavily in technology. We want to make sure that we are able to provide seamless services to our members wherever they are. We have in place now a customer relationship management, and this is basically helping us on the front line where we are interacting with our members, because this customer relationship tool, it's helping us to collect data, in terms of what kind of requests are coming from members, how are we addressing those concerns, the timelines, whether they are satisfactory, and all those kind of things. So we have now that in place. We managed to put that in place last year. It's bearing results. We are still fine-tuning it to make sure that we are capturing as much as possible in that system. We will also be doing a lot of member education through webinars like this one and also other platforms. We have monthly webinars lined up for the rest of the year. So this is just the first of many. And the idea behind this is to make sure that we give members as much information as they need so that they know the products that are available, how they can take advantage of them, and how they can use the SACCO to, advance their economic interests. I had already mentioned about the diaspora members. This is a key group of our members that we sometimes we feel like they've been slightly forgotten because, their needs or their accessibility is not the same as those members who are here in Gigiri, Nairobi. So we are trying to make sure we are able to reach to these diaspora members. The other pillar is on governance and compliance. One of the areas we want to improve, and we've tried to improve in the last few years, is on member engagement, like what we are doing today, just to be able to engage with members and share information, try to communicate effectively, share, be transparent, so that the moment we eliminate that the veil that sometimes comes across, we hope then the trust levels between the members and the board and the rest of the team will improve, and that is key for the SACCO to move forward in a positive way. We are also keen on regulatory compliance. As you know, we are now a regulated SACCO, so we want to be able to comply with the laws, Cooperative Societies Act, for instance, the SACCO Societies Act and the regulations, the various guidelines we receive. There are even other laws that have been passed that are of interest to the SACCO, like the Data Protection Act that came, the regulations I think were published a year or two ago. So we'll actually be reaching out to members to provide consent on some things in the near future, just as it is required by the Data Protection Act. We've put in place also a lot of measures to make sure that members' data is secured and is used for the approved or the intended purpose. There's the anti-money laundering and combating terrorism financing laws. This came last year. They've been there, but I think they were enhanced last year. So again, that impacts us. So sometimes you will see, when you're transacting, you're requested for some extra information. It's because we are required now to report certain transactions to the government. Then finally, of course, as many of you know, especially Kenyans, the government has been very aggressive on collecting tax. So we are also trying to be, compliant as much as possible so that we don't run into issues with the tax authorities. And the last part, the other part I wanted to talk about briefly is on our subsidiary company, that is a Wanamataifa Investment Company. So the general view of the board is that this company is actually, a very vital tool for us to offer some services that we cannot offer directly from the SACCO. The regulator says that the SACCO should focus on its core business, that is on savings and credit. So we cannot provide other value-added services directly from the SACCO. And that is the reason why the company was registered in 2011. And so it has been dormant for a while, but in the last 2 years, it has been active and it has been investing on land, especially land. We have two projects that have been done in the last 2 years, one in Kantafu and then one in Starehe. There are others coming in the pipeline. So we feel that this company, if well run and members are informed about its mission and understand it, it is one way that we can actually uplift our members through other services, products and services that are not we cannot deliver through the SACCO. Other than land, we know the company is looking into housing, because members are in different stages. So there are those who are probably keen on land, but there are those who want to, venture into housing. And the company is in that space, looking very keenly on how it can deliver. So we are crossing our fingers. We know some things will be coming out in due course. We already have some value-added services like insurance and others that are coming up in the pipeline. So we are excited actually by what Wanamataifa is doing. And we are starting to see now the benefits that it can offer to our members. One other thing that we are keen and is very, very strategic to the board is to develop synergies between Wanamataifa and UN SACCO, particularly on growing our loan book. So we feel like the SACCO can finance actually some of these activities by Wanamataifa, like giving loans to members who want to buy properties. We actually developed one specific product called the plot loan, that it was targeted towards, land that Wanamataifa is selling. So members, if you are interested in any property or land that Wanamataifa is selling, please take time to look at that product. It's tailor-made for that purpose, and we think it's very useful for our members. Lastly, we are trying to also improve the governance of the company. Like I said, it's been dormant for a while, so it has to grow and improve its governance so that, you know, the trust also develops and grows between members and the company. I had earlier mentioned that this is the first webinar after the AGM. So we thought it's also good to talk about the post-AGM feedback that we've been getting from members. And we still welcome feedback, by the way, even in this forum. If you think there are areas we could improve in terms of our AGM, we are very happy. We are listening and we want to take notes on how what can improve for the future. So we welcome those comments from members. But one thing I want to congratulate members on is on the attendance. Like I said, we had about 4,000 members joining the last AGM. In 2019, we had about 1,000 members joining physically. That time we didn't have the virtual meetings. So we had about 1,000 members joining. Now we've increased that to 4,000, which means the virtual modality is actually helping us reach out to more members, and they're able to participate in the governance of the SACCO. This time we had a hybrid modality, which means we had some members coming physically and other members following purely virtually. So that was a new frontier for us. We are happy that the meeting went well. We didn't have any challenges or major challenges. So this is the way to go for the future. One of the feedback we've received from our members is actually on the length of the meeting. Some members have said having an AGM from 9 a.m. in the morning till 6 in the evening is a bit long. So we've taken that on board. We'll try to see how we can shorten the meetings without, also affecting members' participation, engagement in the AGM. We are required now by the new guidance notes from the regulator that we send documentation that are used in the AGM 2 weeks to the AGM. So we complied with that this time, and I'm happy because I saw a lot of interactions and engagement from members in terms of documentation. Yeah, so there's more time for members to read and understand and appreciate all these documents that we normally share. We have received some feedback on the quality and focus of engagement, and basically there's a feedback that we should focus more on the priority resolutions that we have in the AGM, rather than digressing into topics that are not really part of the AGM. And also feedback from the board. There's a suggestion that we could improve in that area, which we will by the time we get to the next AGM. Sorry. So in terms of passing resolutions, I'll actually pose a question because this is one of the things that still baffles me when it comes to the AGM. We have about 4,000 members joining, but what we observed is that other than the elections, when we go to passing resolutions, we get very few members voting, like about 1,000, 1,500. So what we are still wondering as a board, what happens to the other 2,500 members? Do people join and they forget to follow, to vote, and pass resolution, elect board members and supervisory committee members? That's an area I think we will be interacting with members a lot to find out how we can improve that. Maybe the meetings are too long, so people get tired and exit or something like that. But that's a key observation we noted, both at the passing of resolution stage and okay, so let me see. So I will not end this presentation without mentioning our prized asset, that is the UN SACCO Center, which is on that picture. This is the property we bought in here in Gigiri, Nairobi. So this is not the whole of it. This is just the section occupied by UN SACCO. And I still want to extend an invitation to members who have not been there to find time to visit the new property. This is your home and this is your property. So feel free anytime, Monday to Friday. If you get a chance, we have a customer service area there, so you can actually be served from the UN Circle Center, in addition to the force office in the UN complex. Okay, so VC, that's it from my end. I want to return the webinar to you. I'm happy to take any questions. And of course, with the help of the other board members, we'll try our best to respond. Thank you, and over to you, VC.
Thank you so much, Board Chair, for the exquisite presentation. Members, as you have heard from the Board Chair, it is now my pleasure to welcome any questions at this point so that they can be responded to. I have also seen a number of questions on the chat. This is your time. It is your time now to ask the questions. I can see Agnes Namunyi. Please proceed.
Agnes Namunyak, thank you so much, and I really appreciate the meeting and whatever the board members have taken us through. We do appreciate. But in as much as we are giving all these explanations, we need to see that we have really progressed further. I mean, I've been a member, I think we started this SACCO in 1992. We've not moved anywhere. We've had other SACCOs coming. And I feel very sorry when it comes to really investments, apart from Wanamataifa. There's a lot of politics where there's a lot of mistrust, that we don't really trust in each other, because I expect by now we should have been having a very vibrant, big UN Circle complex like Walimu Sacco and the rest. So we need really to agree what is the way forward. And then number two, okay, I am in the diaspora. The services are really not very friendly to us. We have tried, I think, like some of us, we were even trying to get to access our dividends. We are not able to access. We have a WhatsApp number that was given that nobody picks, and it's really unfortunate. I mean, human is to error, but we cannot be saying we are going to support a certain service like customer care. It doesn't happen. We as SACCO members, we are actually the ones who own the SACCO. Without us, if today we decide we all to leave, there will be no SACCO. So we need also to see, how do we improve? How do we also evaluate the services that we get? Others, at the end of the day, as we even have these webinars, we'll be going in circles and circles and circles. Whatever we've been addressing, time memorial, is the same things we are addressing. So at the end of the day, it's just like a ritual. So let's see, how do we really see how we can actually improve our SACCO, make sure we make adjustments. By now, I'm sure some of us will be shareholders of very big investments. But even some of us, as we are almost retiring, we have nothing, even to say that we were the originators of the SACCOs. So that is all what I'm saying, and let's see how do we improve. And let's also hear from other SACCO members. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Member Agnes. Let's speak from Juvenal Shiundu.
Thank you. First of all, thank you, Chair, for the information you have given us, which I found very informative. I have one question, and then I'll have a comment being in the diaspora. My question is, one share is 50, I believe one share which goes into the share capital is 50,000. My question is there a limit to how many shares a member can have? Secondly, is to comment on what Agnes has just said. I'm in the diaspora, but I've never had any problem logging onto the website, getting information, getting statements, getting to see the dividends that have been paid, and so forth. So I don't know what experience Agnes has, but as a member in the diaspora, I don't have any problem getting any information that I need from the SACCO. Thank you.
Maybe I can just confirm. Some of us are in countries that have sanctions. We cannot access to any of the platforms, which becomes a very tricky situation for us. So for like Afghanistan, Syria, Iran, Iraq, that's what we are talking about. So sometimes we are trying to our best and we are not able to do that. That's what I meant.
Thank you, Juvenal and Agnes for the clarification. Can see Isaac. Isaac?
Very much, Chair. Mine is a simple one, but one that has consistently been raised by members. I remember it was also raised last time when we were at Safari Park. I think I have been thinking that the board needs to look to be more innovative in terms of the diversity of the loan products. Many members, I'm sure, want to take money and they use it to develop themselves and, of course, develop our country. But because membership now is no longer restricted, those who are working within the complex, some of us have worked there, left, and we are working elsewhere. And therefore, the issue of the diversity of loan products need to be really looked seriously, taking into account that membership and the employment, membership by employment have also been diversified, so that we get this money and we use it, and also we pay the SACCO the interest. I think that's my point. I'm still hopeful that somehow sooner than later the board will be more innovative in loan products. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Isaac. I want to take it back to the board chair for response to the three members that have raised issues. Thank you, Chair.
All right, thank you so much, VC, and thank you to the members who have raised the questions. That is Agnes, Juvenal, and Isaac. I'm very happy to hear that Agnes has been the SACCO since 1992. So she's actually a witness to the progress that the SACCO has made over that period of time. On the question of access to services in the diaspora, we are doing our best. Like I mentioned, of course, before we had limitations with technology and all that, but now there are technologies which are available, and we are trying to take advantage of those technologies to make sure that members in the diaspora can access our services, as if they were in Nairobi. One important service that, of course, is very dear to members is ability to access credit services, which means you can borrow wherever you are, and then be able to access that money in your FOSA and transfer it if you want to, transfer to another bank account or, to other people. Then you can do that without being in Nairobi. So that is where we are headed, and we are doing. We are putting in a lot of effort in that area. We hope by in the coming months we'll be able to announce to members, which services now can be accessed fully virtually. Of course, the issue of being in countries that have sanctions is a different challenge altogether, because if you are not able, for instance, to access internet, then it's very difficult to access services, even if they are available online. So that will call for a rethink in some areas, like, for instance, if you can use mobile, if it's possible to use mobile in those countries, then maybe that's the other options to use. But what we are trying to put in place is, cloud services. You can access these services from a central point, regardless of your physical location. And on the issue of asked by Juvenal on the share capital, one share capital in UN Circle costs 1,000. You are required to have a minimum of 50, so that you have 50,000 in share capital. There's no limit. Okay, there's a limit actually for one individual. You can't have a certain percentage of our total assets or total core assets, but that limit is high. I think it's around 25% of our total assets, and our total assets currently is at around 18 billion. So unless you make a very serious investment in a circle in form of shares, the only limit we have is that 25% cap. But otherwise, if you want to invest 1 million, 5 million, 10 million, even 100 million, I think you can. That is investing in share capital. And I'm happy for the feedback that you're in the diaspora and you have been able to access information. So we want to go even beyond that, just accessing information. We want you to be able to access services. You don't need to come to Nairobi to fill out a loan form or to submit your loan form, for instance. So that's the direction we are heading. In terms of diversification of products, we are on that, Isaac. We, of course, try to be innovative, but also within some restrictions. What we have observed currently is that a lot of our members have contracts which are becoming shorter and shorter over time. So it means we have to make our products conducive to members who have short contracts. So that's one challenge that we are facing in terms of the length of contracts, which are becoming shorter over time. But we are also looking at other things like collateral, for instance. Most of the loans require, if you want to take more than your deposits, you seek guarantors. But we want to give more options to members. Like, for instance, we currently have land or properties that you can use as the collateral. But there are also thoughts, around using other forms of collateral, like, treasury bonds, for instance, is one example. And we are looking into that to see if it's actually something we can use as collateral, because if somebody has a treasury bonds, then it should be possible for them to use that as a collateral. Of course, we are looking at other areas that we've not looked at before. I've talked about the dollar-denominated products, for instance, which is still a subject to discussion. Islamic products. All those things are on the table. We are looking at, and in due course, of course, we'll announce to members the ones that have been approved by the regulator. Again, all these products have to go to the regulator for approval. And we've had situations in the past that they actually reject proposed products. So we are doing that. We are not forgetting those comments from members at the AGM. And we are really excited because we know in the near future we'll be announcing more innovative products. Thanks, VC. I hope I've addressed the concerns by the three members.
Can I just ask a clarification, yeah? Oh, Bernard.
Yes, please go ahead.
Okay, in as much as we are really looking at, like we are looking at the last time we are saying we have a lot of deposits, people are not borrowing because of course you look at the 1/3, but with all these years, and I remember, I don't know whether you are part of that, we had engaged a company so that we come up with a property where you can have like UN Circle, like people can lease and what. Why are we not looking at a long-term profit for some of us who started the circle? Like now, when we retire, it's like we are absolute. Yet we should be the shareholders of this of the circle. So what is the challenges that we cannot do any major investments apart from Wana Mataifa and what, with all the money that we have? Because I don't think that the regulators you say will regulate that they will not allow you to invest the same way we have bought our property. I'm sure right now we'll be the richest circle, the same way Safaricom is doing. Some of us, even now, we are in Safaricom buying their properties and what. What is the biggest challenge with UN Circle that we cannot even invest and be the biggest circle with even a complex like Two Rivers or Sarit, which I'm sure we are able to do it, and we'll be the proudest circle saying that we are the best circle, not just getting trophies, and we don't have anything that we can even say that as members we are proud of.
So just to respond quickly to that additional comment by Agnes, actually, from the SACCO perspective, we are restricted by regulations. So there's a condition that the SACCO cannot invest in properties other than property that it needs for its own offices. And of course, if there's extra space, they can rent out. Other than that, you cannot just go and invest in property like a mall, for instance. That is not a core business for the SACCO. So we cannot actually go in that direction. But that's why we have a Wana Mataifa, because like I said, this is the special purpose vehicle that we use to provide additional products and services to members. And Wana Mataifa has been very focused on land for members who are interested in land. We hope it will be heading into housing soon. So it will also help members, especially the young members coming into the circle, access housing and other value-added services. Currently, Wana Mataifa does not have the financial muscles to go to investing in a mall, which in itself, of course, has to be evaluated properly, because it may look enticing from outside, but sometimes what is looking enticing, like they say, not all that glitters is gold. So there are also challenges in that in this business ventures. So before the company goes in that direction, it has to do a really a proper evaluation of that business idea. So, but of course, our tool that we have at our disposal is the subsidiary company. Thanks, and over to you, VC, I see a few more hands.
Thank you, Chair. And before I give opportunity to other additional members to raise their questions, I would want to remind ourselves that we only have be calling it off. So please, let's try to be precise, but don't leave out any details. So thank you, Chair. I'm going to give this opportunity to the following honorable members in this order. Robert Maisi, followed by Lilian Odepo, followed by Silvanus, followed by Penina Machoka, and followed by Boniface Iregi. Thank you.
Thank you, Bana VC. Thank you, Bana Chair, for this wonderful opportunity for this webinar. I just wanted to make a couple of comments. One, I'd like to piggyback on Isaac and the issue of diversification. The issue actually affects seems to be a challenge because you give us a credit and then our produce is what we will hopefully sell to pay back. But to now use it as a produce where you pay monthly and this income is not coming in that format. So maybe an agricultural product, you could maybe benchmark on other people. How do they go about giving this kind of credit that can be redeemed maybe towards the end of the season when we offload our products? That was my main comment. But Huku Mashambani, we are getting services online very well. We can check our statements. That is an excellent thing you're doing in the SACCO. I'd like you to commend you and to continue to keep it up. Thank you.
Lillian?
Good afternoon. Thank you, Chair. Thank you, VC. Please confirm you can hear me.
Loud and clear.
Okay, thank you for the updates. Mine is just issues to do with the technology. We've seen improvements. We've seen the new platforms, mobile, and also the internet. And yes, members are reporting they're able to access. But I still feel that a lot more can still be done in terms of technology and making these platforms more user-friendly, and also reducing some of the rigid requirements that are still there that sometimes can be inconveniencing. Like, I'll give an example. And first of all, I'd like to note that in 2022, when I attended the AGM, I remember there was a budget that was presented in relation to, upgrading infrastructure in terms of technology, I think this time around. So there's always, like in the annual budget, something to do with this. And that's why I am hoping that this year we can continue to see improvements. For instance, one simple thing, password change. I mean, we all know we have like several passwords, and sometimes we don't log into the SACCO every other day. So I log the next time I want to log in, I can't remember my password. The current process is just too cumbersome. Fill in a form, send it, you send it. We don't accept a digital signature. There are just so many things. Sometimes you send it, customer care does not respond in good time. It's just too laborious. And I was just wondering if you're looking into ways in which you can improve even some of these things, because even in our own organizations, even with other banks, something as simple as changing a password shouldn't be something which you need to fill a form and you're asked that you have to scan it. It has to be a physical signature. I was so surprised they would not accept a digital signature. And I'm like, God, in this day and era, we came from COVID. And the thing is that the staff are so rigid that even sometimes when the circumstances you are in cannot allow you, like there was a time I was in the village and I tried to explain and we're like, we're sorry, we can't. I don't have a laptop. I don't have a scanner. I don't have a printer in the village. So it's just some of these processes that you have in place that are not user-friendly in the current day and age. They're a bit ancient. So we just hope that you'd be looking into them. Even your EFT transfer procedures, fill in a form. Move with the current times. With the other banks, these are things that we do online. Why do I have to fill in a form if I want to transfer my money from the SACCO to another bank and vice versa? I see things which look like they're coming up on the platform. For instance, there's the, what is this called? Pesa Link. I think you're trying to introduce it. We hope that that this will soon become functional, so that it also gives a variety in terms of how we can move around our money and the products that we can have in this internet and mobile platforms. Thank you.
Thank you, Lillian. Sylvanus? Honorable Member Sylvanus?
Yes, hello.
Proceed, please.
Yeah, I think my question has already been answered in the chat, so I don't think I should repeat it. My question was just about those who have already left, those who are no longer in employment, how the SACCO was dealing with them. But the question has been answered in the chat.
Thank you, Sylvanus. Penina Machoka.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Proceed.
Okay. I have two questions. One is on this meeting. I just wanted to, and first of all, thank you for this session. It's very useful. And thank you for the great strides that you've made so far. My question regarding today's meeting is whether there will be a sort of action plan or something, because there are a lot of comments and there are a lot of suggestions that are being made. So is there going to be some kind of document that is going to be developed so that we can track the status of the suggestions that are being made by the members? So that's the first question. The second question is diaspora again. I want to raise the issue of diaspora because I know I have had harrowing experiences with staff when I'm not in the country. Now, what I wanted to find out is what is the accountability of staff when it comes to customer service? So if somebody has a nasty experience, is the only recourse calling the CEO? We've heard in the past that they are developing systems for customer feedback, but the way the diaspora are suffering cannot wait for this system. So what has been put in place to ensure that diaspora have a hotline where they can call, they can email, and they get a response within 24 hours if they are not satisfied? What is the escalation process? Because in this day and age where we are relying on the diaspora remittances and so on, we cannot afford to treat our diaspora the way we are treating them. So I'd like to know what is the accountability framework or process that you have in place to ensure that diaspora are now being given, are being treated properly and are getting proper service. Thank you.
Thank you. Iregi Boniface.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Chairman and Vice Chair. Number one, we recommend, I appreciate this meeting, and I recommend maybe you can be having it more often, so that we can have this more education and more awareness. So go straight to the point. We need more of market awareness of the products that are being offered, especially on Wana Mataifa. I feel that there's a lot that is happening there that is not shared. And then again, on the same, we need to have trust. And I'm saying this openly, that the last time you find that there's a land that has been proposed for the customers of the members, and you find that now when you ask the price from the neighbors, you find that the price is overrated. So we need to build a trust in a way that whatever is given as by our SACCO, by our Wana Mataifa, we find that we're getting the value for the money, and it's the best rate because we are engaging on volume. Then the other thing I wanted to mention, just like my colleague has mentioned, Penina, on the diaspora, maybe if possible, there is a dedicated email for them and a dedicated customer service, one person who can be able to engage them, so it is to avoid back and forth. And lastly, if it's possible that whenever a question or a query is it's done, if possible, the staff, they can, if for those who are within the teams, they can do a Teams call, so they can easily resolve the issue. And for those who are not on Teams, maybe there can be an official WhatsApp line, so at least some of those issues, they can be responded easily and faster to avoid back and forth of emails. Thank you. Over to you.
Thank you. Members, as I informed you earlier that we're already at 2, so we want to limit it at that. Before the chair finalizes, I'll call upon the CEO to respond to issue of diaspora and also to give something briefly on products. Then chair will take it from there and wrap it up. So CEO, please.
Yeah, thank you so much for opportunity. Yes, indeed, what we've done is that we have a dedicated email address, customercare@unsaco.org. That is it goes through the the customer relations CRM platform. You'll be able to get a number, and we normally follow it up. So use that customercare@unsaco.org. We should be able to attend to you. We track all the issues that are coming in, and we should be able to attend to you. And that also goes to the issues of how do you share with us the feedback. Again, that is an email that you can use for us to be able to attend to you. There are other few issues that were there, and for example, the issue of plot loan. Yes, indeed, George, you don't need guarantors for that. There were other issues in terms of products, and yes, we are handling the issue of products, and we should be able to share with you not more than 2 weeks from now the new product that we are rolling out. So just be on the lookout. We should be able to roll that out. Again, the questions that have come through the chat, we'll collect all of them, provide answers, and we'll be able to share to all the members. Thank you, and over to you, Vice Chair.
Thank you, CEO. Back to you, Hon Chair.
Thank you, VC, and thank you, CEO. In the end, I'll allow the chair of the supervisory committee, Gladys, to wrap up. But I just wanted to very quickly respond to some of those last questions from honorable members Lillian, Penina, and Boniface. So Lillian has actually captured very well the issues that we are trying to resolve. These small things that can be done remotely or through self-service by members, like changing passwords. We are on that particular area, especially the self-service for passwords. Of course, when we introduced the system in 2023, there had to be some control because of the cyber security issues. So it was being done from the office, but we think now the system is stabilized enough to hand over these activities directly to members themselves. Of course, there will be security around that as well. Some issues are legal and also security, like the issue of the signature, because when you join, you sign a document, and we have a specimen signature of that. So when we want to verify that it's you transacting, we look at the specimen signature we have in our records. We are also addressing that. There's an item we actually put in the budget this year, and it's meant to address this issue of the advent of digital signatures. In terms of service to members and accountability, the CEO has touched on the customer relationship management system. That is actually to help us track all interactions with our members, so that if something falls through the cracks, we can see, we can track and know what happened, and that way we can follow back to the staff, related staff, and find corrective measures. But I just also want to inform members that if something is not addressed or resolved to your satisfaction, we actually have a complaints management mechanism that we've put in place. So we have an email called complaints@unsaco.org. If you have a complaint that you think is not being addressed properly, just send an email to that complaints email address. That email address actually comes to a committee of the board, which is called the Audit and Risk Committee, who are overseeing that email address. And it is to ensure that, even the board can look into issues affecting members that have not been addressed satisfactorily. So we have not forgotten, that's not even for diaspora only. This is for all members. We'll be sharing those email addresses, I think, after this, so that members are aware of those mechanisms. We had considered a service desk for the diaspora, and I think that's an area we can revisit, because one of the things we see with diaspora members is also the issue of time zones. So if somebody is in New York and they want to inquire something in the office, by the time, let's say at 11, they want to ask, we are closed. The offices here in Nairobi are closed. So we will still revisit that issue of the service desk for this diaspora. And then, of course, Boniface on the issue of awareness of products like Wana Mataifa. That will happen, and you will see also webinars dedicated to Wana Mataifa. And of course, the mission of Wana Mataifa is to make sure we uplift the members through affordable products like land, housing, and all that, which should always be better priced than the market. So that's the mission, and we'll try to make sure we stick to that. So I don't want to take much time. Thank you so much, honorable members, for joining. I want to give this chance to the chair of the supervisory committee. Sorry, one thing I forgot, the action plan requested by Penina. Indeed, all these things we are collecting, this is very valuable to us, because when you go back to the board and board committees to discuss, we are going to address all these concerns that are being raised by members, either by call or by text, by chat. So we are not just leaving them here. We are going to follow through on all of them. So Gladys, if you are there, please, I want to give you the floor as you close the meeting for us. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair BOD. Thank you, members. This has been a very good and interactive meeting. I just want to thank all members for just availing yourself. This is your circle to come, and we want to hear you and listen to you. I want to thank the team that was behind the organization of this meeting. And I want to assure members, as a chair of SC, particularly Penina, on your concerns on if action points will be followed, as chair has already communicated to you that it will follow up. On behalf of the supervisory committee, the supervisory SC is also noting down these concerns, and we shall also pick it up with management and the board, just to ensure that your issues have been addressed. Thank you so much. Thank you for participating. I wish all of you a nice afternoon. Thank you and bye.
Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Dr.
Thank you, everyone. Goodbye.
Thank you, everyone. Goodbye.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.